Tonight's first period on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by your local Chevy dealers and by Papa John's. The day after every Flyers win, get 50% off your online order at papajohns.com using promo code FLYERS.
Beautiful day here in Tampa, Florida, where the Philadelphia Flyers and the Tampa Bay Lightning will battle. Let's take a look at our key starting goaltenders. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, Anders Lindback will be in goal. The backup goaltender for Ben Bishop for much of the season. Bishop out with an injury. Lindback steps in. Ray Emery back in goal for the Philadelphia Flyers. Steve Mason with the night off. And the Flyers backup goaltender will try to get a win here in Tampa Bay.
A lot of pressure on that guy right there, Anders Lindback. He could be the starting goaltender come playoff time for this Lightning club. And Ray Emery getting quite a bit of playing time down the stretch here as Craig Berube keeps both netminders sharp. Vinny Lecavalier getting himself ready. He scored a goal in his first return to Tampa Bay in a game earlier between these clubs, although not a lot of success in general for the Flyers here in Tampa Bay. They have not been able to win their last 5 visits here. And in fact, the Lightning 6-0-1 in their last 7 against the Flyers in this building, outscoring them 27-10. So the Flyers would like to reverse that trend here tonight. 2 playoff-bound teams ready to go toe-to-toe. And we are underway. The Flyers in their road white jerseys for the second to last time in this regular season. Dark home uniforms for Tampa Bay. Andrew McDonald will play that puck to center. Here's Claude Giroux after it. Giroux centering it in front. And broken up by Victor Hedman. And then set out to the neutral zone by Tampa Bay. By line combinations, a defense bears at the top of your screen. Missing Nick Grossman out with a lower body injury. And so Eric Gustafsson replaces him in the lineup for the Flyers, and they adjust their defense pairs accordingly. Peter Kucherov gets that across, and now sent into the Philadelphia zone by Andre Schuster. And back to get it is Andrew McDonald ahead for Matt Reed. And he'll misfire through center ice, goes all the way down, and they'll call this icing as the Tampa Bay combinations appear at the top of your screen.
Defensive zone face-off coming for the Philadelphia Flyers here, where they'll have to really bear down against a Lightning team that can get in on the forecheck with the best of them. Craig Berube very aware of the speed of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and talking to us before the game. It's something the Flyers want to make sure they can curb and slow down just a little bit. And one way to do that is put the passes on the tape. That was an errant pass that led to this defensive zone face-off on the icing, and that's an area they want to be better in against the Lightning here tonight.
Tampa Bay Lightning under John Cooper have surprised many by becoming a playoff team. Here's a steal by Kucherov. The shot! Save Emery. Turnover number 1 for the Flyers. There was a beauty, and Emery able to bail out his teammates, but here's Kucherov after it again. He's poke checked beautifully there by McDonald, and the Flyers move the other way. Here's Matt Reed. Reed going to a stop, waiting, and then dropping it off for Gustafsson. Gustafsson sealed off by Edko Gudis, who's one of the heavier hitting defensemen in the National Hockey League.
Pay attention. He can really let you have it.
A.T. Brown is deposited by another guy who can really let you have it, Luke Schenn. Puck dumped in the Philadelphia zone, gotten back here, and Palat has it for a shot. Save made by Emery. Andre Palat, along with Tyler Johnson, 2 rookie players who we mentioned in the open, and they're second and third in rookie scoring behind Nate McKinnon, and have been a big part of the success here in Tampa Bay this year. Steve Downey to the puck. Cross-ice pass is deflected away. Another turnover, and here's Stamkos. Stamkos all the way across the shot. Johnson, he scores. Too many turnovers early for the Flyers, and the Lightning take advantage of this one as Johnson continues his huge rookie season with goal number 24.
You're playing into the hands of the Tampa Bay Lightning when you're turning pucks over the neutral zone against them. They are an explosive team. And when you give it to them, they'll drive it right back at you. And Tyler Johnson does exactly that after Steve Downey's errant pass in the neutral zone.
Well, Stamkos does such a good job here to be able to see Johnson coming off that far pipe. So now it's just a matter of getting him the puck. Emery's facing Stamkos. So all of a sudden, Johnson's got the ability to be able to take that one-timer and just beats him up high.
He's 1 point shy of 50 on the season. And you know these guys have had good years when John Cooper puts them together with Steve Stamkos and moves Stamkos to the wing. As Johnson is the pivot on that line. So the early goal to the Lightning, 2 minutes in. Johnson scores. And the Lightning have the early advantage. Here's Vanilla Cavalier. Fights through a check and does send it in the shot off the outside of the post by Adam Hall. So Cavalier again digging away, trying to get that puck away from the defenseman Michael Koska. It set up the wall. Nate Thompson bumped by time again. Cavalier to the puck again. As he's being knocked down, he tried to get the pass through to McGinn, but it was denied and bounced out to the neutral zone. Kimmo Timonen slides over to get to the puck. And now he'll look things over. This is an extremely quick Tampa Bay team. So their game is transition. And transition always helped by turnovers, and thus far that has been the case. Ryan Callahan getting it ahead to Filppula, the former Red Wing, with a move all the way around behind the net, out the other side. Back out to Victor Hedman. He'll blast wide. Victor Hedman has blossomed this year into a top defenseman in the NHL. In his 5th year, sometimes takes those big defensemen a little longer, but boy, is he something now. Filppula hit across the Philadelphia line to Callahan. Drops it back to Schuster. He'll just push that one deeper into the Philadelphia zone. Flyers able to get to it. And now it's Andrew McDonald backhanding it, but Voracek beaten to that puck by Filppula. Filppula fighting through checking behind the net. Got it to the side of the cage. Jouts for it now. Nobody really with control. And finally Emery decides to cover up at the side of the cage. You look at the virtuous scratches from the respective lineups. Nick Grossman, the addition for the Flyers. Zach Rinaldo serving game 2 of his suspension. And there's the beginning of a long list for the Lightning. They're carrying a lot of players, and of course the big name on that list is Ben Bishop. He's John Cooper without his #1 goaltender for the rest of the regular season due to what is guessed to be their shoulder or wrist injury, and that's a huge loss. He's had a heck of a year.
He has, and John Cooper's had a heck of a year behind the Tampa Bay Lightning bench. 2 coaches in this game tonight that will get some consideration for Coach of the Year, and Berube and Cooper.
He's been successful everywhere he's been.
Penalty here as Kucherov hauled down Gustafsson. Dustin St. Pierre and Brad Watson are your linesmen. It was actually Reed that was taken down. St. Pierre and Watson your referees. Steve Miller, Tony Sericolo, your linesmen. And the Flyers will get a power play.
Yeah, Kucherov just trips up Gustafsson right there, gets his stick in between the legs. Lindback thought the call was coming against the Flyers and had left the Tampa Bay Lightning net to get out the extra attacker out there, and was fortunate that Tampa played the puck right away.
So it was Gustafsson who was taken down. And the Flyers with the power play. Kucherov, who has been very evident in the 2 games against the Flyers this year. Evident here, not for the reason he wants to be. There's Kimmo Timonen. Take that shot, deflected, and it went wide. And Simmons and Hartnell going to that area in front, looking for the redirection. Timonen has it again to Giroux. And now Giroux will settle things to Simmons' side of the net. Looks in front, finds Voracek, who tried to pass, and it was behind Hartnell. And the Lightning unable to clear. Hartnell kept it in, got it to Voracek, across to Giroux, down low. Simmons couldn't get control of the puck to take a shot. He was trying to turn and fire. Flyers keep it. Here's Timonen to Giroux. Again, side of the net, Simmons trying to get it in front to Hartnell, but it was tipped away, and now Giroux unable to control, and it's cleared by J.T. Brown all the way down.
The Tampa Bay Lightning are sitting back a little bit, allowing the Flyers the opportunity to be able to move that puck in the perimeter. But on top of that, when you get Hartnell in the middle, if they leave him alone, they'll be able to get some good action from him.
And now icing called against the Flyers as they dump that puck in. And they'll face it off all the way down the ice. The numbers you saw for the clubs, and the Flyers still with the top-ranked power play in the league on the road.
And they moved it around to the right places, just a little bit off on the final pass. That one to Simmons. Prior to that, it was Voracek looking for Hartnell after a pretty tic-tac-toe passing play. He just missed Hartnell with the pass.
An offside call, not icing. Flyers win the neutral zone draw. And here is Mark Streit turning it out to the neutral zone, cutting to the middle. Streit finding some room. Pushes to Reed. And around to the other side of the ice. 46 seconds remaining in the power play. Flyers unable to keep it in. McDonald has to go back and get it. Andrew McDonald now sizing things up. Pass tipped by Schenn, but not controlled, and it's sent right back out to the neutral zone. The second unit having a little trouble getting set up. They'll try again. Here's Reed. Nice move at the line. Hooked it to the slot, but the Lightning all over that, and Hedman clears it all the way down.
Right there, you see Matt Reed with a nice move as Gudas was trying to get him right at the blue line. But he can be had because he is so aggressive.
Schuster will send it around. Brewer tipped it. Flyers able to recapture, but Raffl could not get the shot off, and Thompson moved it to the neutral zone. Final couple seconds of the power play as Downey gets in across the line. Fires it to the open corner. There is Brewer, the veteran defenseman. He turns it over to Coburn. Coburn, a quick shot deflected, and it landed on top of the net. Landed on top of the net. Just a little too much hang time. Now Downey on the boards, but whistle off the puck was Raffl, and it's Teddy Purcell with it. Purcell in his 400th National Hockey League game got it as far as Raffl in center. And Michael able to dump it deep into the Tampa Bay zone. Couturier trying to hunt it down. Schuster played it right to Raffl. His pass hit a leg and bounces out, and now Richard Panik flying out through center ice. Panik hit across the Philadelphia line. Slams on the brakes. Looks for a trailer. Flyers had him all covered, and Voracek will step back the other way. He's got help coming. Voracek up the right wing. Voracek in the middle for Hartnell off his skate to the corner. Back out toward the point. It's Gustafsson across ice. Luke Schenn taking a swat at it. Let the Lightning have it, and they'll play it high. It was off a high stick of Hartnell, played by Voracek, and there's your whistle. 1-0 Tampa here in the first. Quinton Mercy University game notes for this one. Great comeback in Pittsburgh for Chris Letang, and also we'll take a look at the West playoff picture. Chris Letang had the stroke. Made his return to the lineup last night, got an assist, couple shots. Just great to see him on the ice so quickly after that health issue. And in the West, the only remaining playoff spot that is up for grabs, the final one out there, the second wild card, Dallas and Phoenix, and they play each other on Sunday. It could come down to that.
9 o'clock game on NBCSN. So that game could mean an awful lot. It could be the last game as far as a team making the playoffs on the schedule. So it'll be interesting to watch the final push. In the Eastern Conference, we know who all 8 teams are, and just trying to figure out who's going to play who. Well, the Flyers are going to the playoffs. You can now get tickets to the first round home playoff games. Speak with a representative right now about playoff ticket options by calling 215-218-PUCK or go online to PhiladelphiaFlyers.com.
Flyers tip the puck to center. Jake Voracek getting to it. Voracek will wind up and fire, and the juggling save made by Lindback, as he has not been tested at all in this game. That was the first shot on goal for Philadelphia.
Yeah, and part of the game plan was get a lot of pucks to the net on Lindback in this chance with Ben Bishop out. And they want to make sure that they test the backup goaltender an awful lot in this game in Anders Lindback.
And there is the backup tonight, Kristers Gudlevskis.
Very famous.
He is a famous guy. Jonesy witnessed a performance by that gentleman that was remarkable, almost rocked the hockey world over in Russia at the Olympics, as he made, 55 saves against Team Canada, almost carried Team Latvia to the win, but Canada was able to get one past him and win. But what a performance that was.
Against his general manager here in Tampa. Of course, Steve Yzerman, who was running the Canadian Olympic team.
The shots of Yzerman during that game were, what was going through his mind? Here's my guy, almost ending it for Team Canada.
I'm not unhappy that he didn't play tonight. That's a bit of a tough name.
Well, there's still a lot of time left here, Coatsy, as icing is called.
The Flyers got to get more shots on this.
And
Lindback
no
first.
offense, Coatsy, but I'll have to say his name a lot more than you. And
I understand.
I'm with you on that. No offense, Kristers. He has not played in the NHL, just up from Syracuse to the AHL, where he was having a decent season.
Started in the East Coast League this year. He was actually Tampa's 5th goaltender on the depth chart, but has been outstanding out in the minors and deserving of getting the chance to come up and back up here.
Another big boy like Lindback.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 6'4", and he's a shrimp on this team in terms of goalies. Lindback,
they call him
and
tiny.
Bishop. Yeah. Lindback and Bishop. Lindback is 6'6", Bishop 6'7", so 6'4". They're the tiny guy. They're the coatsy of the group. Here is Simmons with a shot that went off the stick to the corner. And now Eric Brewer will move it ahead. Kucherov across ice for J.T. Brown, the son of former NFL running back Ted Brown. There's his dad's number, 23. Got the puck around to the other side of the ice. Flyers have it. McGinn ahead. And now Hall to LeCavalier. One-on-one up against Hedman. The shot snared by Lindback. Interesting catching style there, but he got the job done and hang on. Sunday night, get a breakdown to the Flyers' first-round playoff opponent. We will know by then with our panel of experts on Cup Central. Presented by GMC. That's Sunday night, 6:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Comcast Sportsnet will have the Flyers playoff push, and first-round coverage will be all over it. That's a place to tune. Flyers back in the playoffs after missing last year, but they've been in the playoffs 17 of their last 19 seasons. The Red Wings clinched last night. They have been in 23 consecutive, so obviously they've been in all 19 of those years. The only team that's been in the playoffs more than the Flyers over the last 2 decades.
Incredible how well they played this year in the absence of some real superstar power. And Datsyuk for extended periods of time. Zetterberg's still out right now, and they found a way to get the job done.
Grand Rapids Griffins, that's what that team is right now. Hell, at least 50% anyway.
Flyers steal a puck here. Giroux will move it out to center. Voracek looking for Matt Carl. Cut him off, but Hartnell's sent into the boards. Ended up on his knees as he hit the boards, but he's okay, and play carries on. Thompson, the team in who sends it in on Emery, and that's Braden Coburn.
That was good, as coming from the other side. His right defense position got Hartnell, got really lucky. I thought it was a hit from behind.
Turnover there by the Flyers, but then Timonen blocked a pass by the Lightning, and that could have been dangerous. Now Timonen can't get it out. Schuster, a shot deflected and went wide. Alex Killorn to the puck, the Harvard product, around behind the net. It deflects free. And Ryan Callahan will tip. Giroux is there. It bounces out into the middle and not out of the zone. Coburn has to go back and get it. Flyers really having difficulty with the Tampa Bay forecheck so far here in the first. But only 3 shots for Tampa, 2 for the Flyers through the first half of this first period. This will be icing against the Lightning.
There are a lot of zone time for the Lightning in this first period. Not a lot of shots through. And the Flyers want to make sure that they start putting their passes on the tape.
This is what we were referring to, and yes, Detroit, that as we talked about, very impressive, but I don't think a lot of people in the NHL would realize that the Flyers are second to the Red Wings in playoff appearances over the last 2 decades.
Pretty impressive stuff for both of those teams. Obviously incredible what the Red Wings have done, but the Flyers are right there.
And I know it's all about the Cup, and the Flyers certainly hoping they can make a run for it this year, but you got to get into the dance to have a chance, and the Flyers pretty much every year over the last 2 decades, every year but 2, have done that. Who knows what's in store once those playoffs start. Best event in sport, the NHL playoffs, in terms of intensity and compassion. There is Schenn side of the net, trying to get in front. Well, Simmons, he got there, but then was checked, and the puck drifts on out to the neutral zone. Puck deflected through. Raffl couldn't knock it down. Simmons does. Raffl has it back. They'll drop it back as the Flyers will go for a change. Strike to McDonald, and then off Couturier's stick deep into the Tampa Bay zone. Lindback is out. Plays it cleanly to Brewer. He got it to Kucherov, and now ahead. Tom Pyatt to Brown. Brought in across the line, goes inside outside, then drops it back. Oscar has it there. Former Maple Leaf defenseman, briefly with the Blackhawks as well. Got it into the corner. He's coming back after a concussion, took a hit from Douglas Murray. And makes his return to the lineup here tonight after missing 3 with head injury. We've got Murray a suspension.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
3-game suspension as he picked the head of Koska. It was good to see Koska get up on his own. They had the stretcher coming out to take him off the ice, but he stood up and skated off. He was wobbly, but it's good to see him back and playing again.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he was definitely done for the regular season, but here he is back with 3 to play. Panik in for Tampa Bay. The angle shot up high off of Emery. Fought it off. And McGinn is level with a hit by Gudas. You just have to have your head up around him. He hits everyone, and it doesn't matter where you are on the ice. Here he is again. He'll blast this time. He can also fire the puck. Emery with a bad save. Now a hit by Panik on Timonen. The Lightning getting very physical As Hall will send the puck in. LeCavier backhander off of Lindback. Out the other side. Out in front McGinn. Stop by Lindback. Another rebound. And Lindback able to stop Coburn. He'll cover up. That's the kind of goaltending he showed the Flyers up in Philadelphia back in January.
1-0 the Lightning lead the Philadelphia Flyers, but they nearly got it tied here. Watch time again. He's going to be trailing the play. The puck will come right out in front now. It looks like it's going top shelf, but Lindback's going to get a piece of it. But what really was unlucky here is the puck rolled on him right when he got to it.
Good concentration by Lindback there as he just keeps his glove and his eyes staring it down and makes a second save, an even more difficult save on the rebound that went to Braden Coburn. He managed to keep both of those attempts out.
Flyers win the draw and go right to work, and fishing away side of the net with Scott Hartnell trying to work one past Lindback, but the big goaltender had other ideas. The face-off in the Tampa Bay zone. Here is tonight's Jeep trivia question of the game. As of the start of this season, Vinny LeCavier held how many Tampa Bay individual records? 2, 4, or 5? And we'll give you the answer later on. What a career he had here under the Tampa Bay Lightning. Out of their Stanley Cup team in 2004, none remain. With the trade of Marty St. Louis, they did honor that team last month. Had several members come back. John Tortorella was here with the Vancouver Canucks, and so he was in attendance. Several of the players, but no players remain active as members of this club.
Jay Feaster was here for that as well. The former general manager is looking for work again after being fired in Calgary. His name has been mentioned as a possible guy to head to Vancouver and reunite with John Tortorella.
Ironically, it was Calgary that the Lightning beat.
That's right.
In that Stanley Cup final. That puck deflects up high, and now it's batted at. Flyers have picked up their pace, no doubt about it. They now are out shooting the Lightning 8-5. Took the Flyers a long time to get their first shot. Then you look up and all of a sudden they have 8.
They started chipping pucks in deep and started being a little crisper with their passes through the neutral zone, and that's why this game has turned towards their favor over the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Downey with a pass back to McDonald, and now it's Couturier. The chip didn't get it past Costa, but it bounces to Reed for a wrist shot. Save made by Lindback awkwardly. Now Reed has it back. Reed to the point, strike. A stutter step move, then floated one, but it didn't get through the traffic in front. Bounces back out. McDonald swinging it down low for Simmons. Simmons takes a look, skates it to the line, and then hands off to Strike. Strike looks in front, goes out the other side, continues to look, and then backhands to Couturier. Couturier dumped by Brewer, gets back up, hands off to Reed. Good puck possession by the Flyers here. Heavy hit there by Palat. He will hit. He's a skilled player, but he's physical as well. Brewer in on Couturier, and now the Lightning get the puck and Costa clears.
One of the advantages for a guy like Lindback, who's so tall, he can actually look over the traffic and not worry about it. He can see over everybody standing in front of him.
You sound somewhat envious, Coach.
I am.
Here's Stripe cross ice to McDonald. Long-time pair on Long Island. They've been put back together here with Nick Grossman out of the lineup. Here's a pass in the middle for Raffl, the backhander off of that glove wide. Made some glove saves in this game, not necessarily the kind that he's been able to hang on to, but able to keep that puck out of the net. Now it's Thompson the other way. Thompson holding on his shot, and a save made by Emery all the way out to Matt Carle. Matt Carle, 2 assists and a +6 when these teams last met up in Philadelphia. Nice pass by Raffl, sets up the Flyers in an odd man rush, although now it's 3-on-3 as the player jumps off the Tampa Bay bench. 10 shot deflected to the corner. And it's guided out by Gudas. Stamkos off the bench, and now the Lightning offside at the Philadelphia line. 4:49 remaining here in the first period. And we can say with certainty, Flyers will be involved April 16th or later, when their playoff run will begin. Vinny LeCavier, for the first time, will be participating in the postseason with a team other than the Tampa Bay Lightning. And he has really risen to the occasion here over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Playing really well in the first period here. He's been involved in a bunch of the scoring chances that the Flyers have had over the last 5 or 6 minutes, and that's good news for Craig Berube. He pops him right back out on the ice. Great recognition by the head coach of the Flyers, and who's going and who's not.
Time again, backhands into the Tampa Bay zone. But hit by LeCavier there on the forecheck. Palat will drop it back to Brewer. The Lightning with the big advantage in hits thus far, and I think there might have been a message during that TV timeout because the Flyers have finished 2 checks with a lot of authority already. Time again the latest to hammer a Tampa Bay player. And now McGinn in after the puck.
Javier's a lot better center than he is a winger because he can get more active. It's just a tougher under Berube's system because you got to work hard in your own zone.
Stamkos across for Johnson. That goes off his skates. Javier gets to McGinn. End of a shift, so Ty will just float that one into the Tampa Bay zone and get fresh legs out on the ice. 4 minutes remaining in this second period. This first period. It's been a quickly moving period, but not quite that quick.
Exactly.
First period. 10-6 the shots in favor of the Flyers. The trail where it counts 1-0. This one makes its way to Purcell. He'll wind and blast, and a save made by Emery. I believe got it in the left shoulder. McDonald moves it ahead to Couturier. Couturier, goal in Florida, ending his long drought. Banks it back out to Streit. Streit fakes the shot, holds, then a little wrister deflected, but it bounces right to Hedman. Victor Hedman will move it to Panik. Now it's Radko Gudas who stumbles down after being tied up some by Downey and has to deal with Reed. And Downey gets the puck back out to McDonald across ice. One-time shot strike blocked out high and then jabbed out to the neutral zone. Nate Thompson got in the way of that shot. Streit will hammer it in and around it goes. Terry Coppola to Hedman. High off the glass to the line, but not out. It's kept in by Hartnell. Voracek tried to track it down, but the Lightning clear. And now it's sent through center ice by Callahan. And the Flyers misfiring a pass there, and so icing is the call.
Flyers getting their share of chances, and number 40 has been involved. Vinny Lecavalier, the quick wrist shot there. It's Lindback with an awkward-looking glove save. And Lecavalier with a backhand chance there and a backhand pass to Ty McGinn. Lindback making a couple of good saves. The second one on Braden Coburn and a backhand chance from Michael Raffl. The Flyers doing a better job of navigating through the neutral zone and generating speed, forcing the Lightning to play a little bit more in their own zone.
Now the Lightning try to go to work in the Philadelphia zone. Callahan centers it. The shot deflected, but Emery with the glove save that sort of looked like Lindback's glove work. And he's able to hang on and will take the face-off. That one deflected on the way in.
Well, Flyers season ticket holders, the deadline to renew for next season is tomorrow. Retain your seats and take advantage of the best benefits available to you by calling now. Representatives are standing by and are ready to assist you. And Ray Emery was ready to assist his team on that last save, doing a nice job in snaring that puck. I think it was deflected prior to arriving at the net, and Emery had to adjust and make that glove save.
It's not his usual style.
Exactly.
Saw a lot of orange in the crowd. That's always the case here in Tampa. A lot of fans lining the streets as the Flyers Hotel just down the street from the rink here, and they walk to the rink for practice. So a lot of the fans getting autographs, and well represented here in Tampa. Coburn unable to come up with that. Brown will. He'll tuck it down low in the Philadelphia zone. Team it in to Raffl. His pass deflected away. Hyatt, the veteran forward. That puck to Brown. All the way across it comes. Koska will hold on and try a shot blocked by Reed. And the Flyers jump on the puck. Coburn to Simmons. Nice job by Simmons to flag that one down. In across the line. And will wind up and blast it. Bounces to Reed for a shot. Save. Lindback. Raffl couldn't dig it out of there. And the big goaltender is somehow getting the job done.
Oh, man, did he react. As all of a sudden that puck came right back into the slot area. Matty Reed going to just move right into it, let that quick shot go. But Lindback, as a big man, moves pretty quickly coming off that pipe.
He's blocked a lot. I don't know if we can call him saves or not. He's a blocker. And that was a difficult chance there. Matt Reed fires it into him, and Lindback's there to scoop up that puck before the Flyers could arrive on the scene.
Might have a board in that glove. Can't get it to stick.
It's only his second start in the last 17 games, although he played almost all of the last game for Tampa when Ben Bishop was hurt. He was hurt as Bishop early on in the game. But now, with the playoffs looming, some pressure on Lindback. He's responded very well. Here's a turnover by the Lightning. A chance for the Flyers. Simmons charging on up. In across the line. Chips to Schenn. He could not get his stick on it.
Wow, was that a great saucer pass? I've never seen one about 4 feet high. That was unbelievable.
Flyers keep it in. Shot. Deflected save. Rebound. And Simmons is stopped by Lindback. Another block. And it's Brewer the other way. Eric Brewer weaving his way in and then flipping one, hoping for a screen, but spotting it was Emery, and he'll love it and hang on.
More chances for the Flyers after that terrific saucer pass by Wayne Simmonds. The right idea as Schenn is driving to the net, but it just bounced before it landed. And Simmonds headed to the front of the net to get another chance, and it's a kind of a push back save by Lindback there.
Looked like Simmonds had the ability to be able to go underneath along the ice, and it's what he was trying to do, but Lindback was the glove before he was blocking. This time he used his blocker to block it.
And here's a shot. If he starts using his blocker to catch it, we really got to start,
got a
right?
real problem then. Yeah.
He's using his glove to block and his blocker to glove. As the puck goes out to center ice, here's Gudas. 4 hits right in this game for that rugged defender for the Lightning. Leads all rookies in hits, 5th among all players in body contact. This will be icing against Tampa Bay.
Another offensive zone face-off here for the Flyers. Much better after the first 5 minutes. It looked like the Flyers were going to be on their heels. They've adjusted and they've started following the game plan. And you want to make sure in these last few games that you're keeping to the game plan throughout the full 60 minutes and beyond are going to be imperative.
Outchancing Tampa by more than a 2-1 margin, 11-5. I mean, that is impressive. This is a Tampa Bay team that usually outchances the opposition. Remember early in the season we were talking about all the teams that played against the Lightning thought they played poorly against Tampa, and the constant was that they were playing the Lightning, and John Cooper at one point said maybe we have something to do with it. But here in this first period, after some shaky moments early, the Flyers have been the better of the two teams.
Very hard team to play against. They're always 5 in every zone.
There's Hartnell getting to it, centering, and that goes off the stick of Lindback all the way across ice. Callahan tracks it down and whips it all the way back across, and there's Hedman across the Philadelphia line, just floating one, batted away by Emery. Voracek dealing with Killorn, and we'll get it back to Streit. Streit, as time runs out in period number 1. 12 shots for the Flyers, 10 for the Lightning. And Lindback got in the way of all 12 Flyer shots. Tyler Johnson, in the meantime, with a wicked one-timer, able to get one past Ray Emery. 1-0 Lightning through 20 minutes. Tonight's Flyers Lightning first period was brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. By Powerback Rehabilitation. Need rehabilitation after a hospital stay before returning home? Powerback Rehabilitation gives patients their power back by getting them home sooner. And by Supercuts. Check out supercuts.com to find a convenient salon location near you. Rock the cuts at Supercuts. Johnny Boric and Al Morganti will analyze that first period after these messages. 1-0 Tampa Bay through 1. Tonight's second period on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by your local Delaware Valley Audi dealers and legendary Audi Quattro all-wheel drive, the world's top-selling luxury all-wheel drive system. Also brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. One period in the books here at Tampa Bay Times Forum. Here are the statistics brought to you by Sugar House Casino.
Tampa came out hitting early in this one, and the Flyers responded about 6 or 7 minutes into the game after giving up that first goal. They end up out shooting the Tampa Bay Lightning 12-10. Anders Lindback outstanding in period number 1 for the Lightning.
Tyler Johnson setting a new record for a Tampa Bay rookie with his 24th goal. A one-timer off the feed from Stamkos. Koska also assisting. And that's your only goal of the game. GMC NHL update. The Rangers 2 points ahead of the Flyers in the standings, taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Final game at MSG in the regular season. Drew Stafford of the Sabres will appear right there in front. Get that one home, and the Sabres with a 1-0 lead on the Rangers. And all the prognostications as to where things would go, almost everyone gave the Rangers 2 points in that game. There's 3 minutes to go in the second period. It's 1-0 Buffalo.
Funny how dangerous those teams can be that have nothing to play for but pride. And the Buffalo Sabres causing all kinds of problems for the New York Rangers, much like the Panthers did in the third period against the Flyers the other night. They just kept on coming.
So if that game were to somehow end up a regulation loss for the Rangers, the Flyers' chances of getting second place go up, obviously, by a large degree, but they have to take care of business here. And they trail 1-0 as well, though a solid first period after about the first 4 or 5 minutes. Underway here in the second stanza. So Hedman controlling. And his pass swept into the Philadelphia zone, eventually by Alex Killorn. Donald back, jabs it to Streit. Nice quick pass to Claude Giroux. And Giroux then ahead off the skate and stick of Hartnell, and then back toward the Philadelphia zone. Hartnell will retrieve and find Giroux. Giroux starts back toward the Tampa Bay zone. He's going to play this one hoping for Voracek, but Lindback comes out and jabs it away from Jake. And the Lightning come up with it along the boards. Killorn across ice to Filppula. And goal scorer for the Lightning. Back across Killorn. The shot off the post. Flyers lost their assignment defensively. The Iron came to the rescue.
That was all Ryan Callahan driving the middle, pushing the Flyers defender back and allowing Killorn to have a straight line right to the side of the net there where he fired it off the goalpost.
Heck of a shot because as a left-hander, he's looking really not at a heck of a lot, but he got it. He got it all.
Here's a pass controlled by Couturier. Now Tyler Johnson gets to it. Johnson to Radko Gudas. Gudas with a shot. That one may have taken off a stick and then the glass, and Emery alert to play it off of the glass as he'll make the catch and hang on.
Here's that 3-on-2. Watch 24 in the blue in the middle. He pushes the Flyers defense back. That opens the lane for Killorn, and he buries it right off the crossbar there.
Let's take a look at that angle again, because look what he's looking at. Emery's right up against the pipe down into the butterfly. So he's really not looking at very much, but he did a heck of a job of getting that where it was.
The draw here to the right of Emery. Steve Downey having a conversation as he tries to get settled for the draw. As he was flanked there. The puck all out to Matt Carl. Pushed it in. Gallant tried to set it. Couturier stole it. His pass off a stick into the neutral zone. Judas back to play it. 23 years of age. His pass ahead. Matt Carl in the middle. Stamkos sifting his way through and then dropping it back for a shot by Johnson that was denied by Emery. Back out to Carl. But he gets to Palat. And he spins it toward the net. It goes all the way through. Flyers disjointed here defensively as they try to keep this line under control. And now they get control and clear it out to the neutral zone. Sent right back in. Lightning are offside here. Delayed call. So the Flyers have a chance to move it out. Here's Couturier. And that shot off the stick and out of play. Heading toward the final weekend of the season. We look at the remaining schedules for the three teams trying to get to second place. Columbus still has a shot. Columbus, by the way, in town here. They play the Lightning, as you see there, tomorrow night. They're at the same hotel as the Flyers. And then they play Florida after that. The Rangers have Buffalo tonight and then at Montreal, which should be a very difficult game for them. So you can see that the Flyers, if Buffalo somehow wins that game, even if they take a point away from the Rangers in that game, how it gives the Flyers a real chance. They have those 3 games remaining. That's offside.
Does it seem possible after watching the Sabres last week in the game the Flyers took it to them?
No.
It's remarkable what happens at this time of the year. Players, it really is strange. And a lot of guys are getting ready for the playoffs. A lot of players are thinking about that and how important it is to be going full bore when the playoffs arrive. You can make a name for yourself. If you're an average player, you can all of a sudden be one of the guys that's talked about, like John Druce was back with the Washington Capitals. And you just want to get there, and your mind kind of drifts a little bit.
Well, you spend 6 months trying to get there. So once you get there, you can understand how you might just take a breath. And that's what we were talking about in the open today. The Flyers had to avoid that here tonight. Here's Simmons. Sending it toward the net. It bounces on by Lindback. And now Thompson missing Brewer with that pass. Panik will send it off a leg into the Philadelphia zone. Brewer goes in deep and takes a big hit from Luke Schenn, and then a huge hit on Raffl by Panik. Flyers move back 2-on-2. Simmons trailed by Schenn. Brayden Schenn knocked it down low, but Simmons unable to catch after that. Brayden Schenn actually goes and gets his own pass, but then plays it back to center ice. So here's McDonald winding it in. LeCavalier. The stutter step move cross ice, and then denied was Simmons. What a shifty move that was by LeCavalier. And now McGinn. To LeCavalier holding on. Flipped it in front, looking for McGinn, but it was batted away and cleared by Tampa Bay.
LeCavalier's been the most dangerous Flyer forward in this game. A couple of early chances in period number 1, and a beautiful setup there to Wayne Simmons here to start the second period.
He's playing possum with LeCavalier on that play. Now a nice pass ahead here to McGinn. Moving in. Oh, he dropped it back. Cavalier was cutting to the net. That leads to a blue wave the other way. Here's Tyler Johnson. Johnson moving on in. Centered it in front. Jabbed away out in front by the Flyers. And LeCavalier has the puck. They'll shovel it out through center. Lightning go back and get it. Flyers trying to change here. The tough change in the second period. Andre Palat has it. Palat to the Philadelphia line. Got a shot off, but it goes off his stick and out of play.
Well, let's take a look at our Geico quote of tonight's game as we talk about the upcoming playoffs. Well, Kimmo Timonen had to say this, that he's really happy that they did make the playoffs. But you move forward. You don't just sit back, and you see there that you want to get that home ice. In other words, they're looking at the New York Rangers ahead of them. So bottom line is that they've got to keep playing in these next 3 games. And the advantage here tonight is the fact that that Rangers game will be over by a half an hour to 40 minutes before this one, so it'll give the Flyers an opportunity to take a look at the result up there.
But bounces down here, a shot and a save by Lindback as Voracek is shaken up. He was going for the deflection there, and Voracek very slowly making his way to the Philadelphia bench. Look out, here come the Lightning the other way. Callahan trying to center, around behind, knocked down in front with Hedman. That's going to be a penalty. Penalty upcoming against the Flyers. It was Hartnell. And now Hartnell plays the puck, and he's going to try to get Hedman to go with him to the penalty box here, do whatever he can to agitate him in the corner. But it's going to be Hartnell, at least, who will go to the box, and Tampa Bay will get its first power play of the game.
And Jake Voracek sitting on the Flyer bench right now, bent over. You can see the Flyer forward in front of the net there, waving at the puck, but he looked like he was in some discomfort even prior to that. And now he's on the bench trying to get his breath back. Hopefully nothing major for Jake.
Well, that would be the other mission statement, if you will, for these last 3 games. No injuries. The Lightning, of course, have no sympathy as they lost Ben Bishop in their last game after having already clinched a playoff berth. And the Flyers had several players in the game in Florida who left the ice. One of them being Claude Giroux at one point. So they had some anxious moments. Here's a shot, Hedman. Oh, that might have hit Callahan in front. If not, it was Emery batting it away through tremendous traffic. Now Stamkos. Stamkos across ice. Active stick by McDonald. Tips it away. The Lightning with their first power play of the game, courtesy of the Hartnell interference penalty. And the Flyers steal the puck and clear.
2 good plays by Andrew McDonald, blocking that original pass across by Stamkos and then supporting Couturier along the wall, loosening that puck up. And the Flyers forced Tampa all the way back.
Power play's been a good weapon for the Lightning down the stretch of this season. Operated about 25% over the last 12 games. Ryan Callahan. That's it down low. Now out in front. They hold on. Filppula back out. Hedman's pass tipped. Good active sticks again by the Flyers. And then Raffl over on the wall. Nearly got it away from Stamkos, but Palat gave him some help. All the way across ice goes Filppula. In front, Callahan! Emery says no! I don't think Callahan got all of it, but Emery still had to get there to make the save. And he keeps this a 1-goal game.
Lindback had been making the majority of the big saves in this one. Ray Emery steps up and makes an outstanding save here as the Lightning try to extend their lead on the power play. Good passing play, and actually hits the goalpost there in behind. Ray Emery off the stick of Luke Schenn.
Stamkos is the one that started it, though, with that dot-to-dot pass. Then right back across to Callahan, and whoa, you got a little help there, Ray Emery did, from the pipe As Callahan's a right-hand shot, so he had the ability to just redirect it. But Emery ended up being in the right spot with a little help, like I mentioned, and you mentioned, is the post.
A lot of help, and it's remarkable. It did not bounce off the post and then Emery and go in. It actually stayed with him after hitting that post. And here the Lightning again going to work. Matt Carl. Teddy Purcell. Purcell back across ice. Johnson a jab at it, but couldn't get it through, and Adam Hall will backhand all the way down the ice. 35 seconds remain on the power play. 6 minutes in to this second period. The Rangers have tied that game up in New York with a goal in the last minute of that second period. So it's 1-1 after 2. Sabres and Rangers. And here 1-0 as the Lightning try to add to their lead on the power play. Koska goes to Johnson. His pass off a skate right back toward Koska. It'll be Timonen instead, but he's checked. Does nudge the puck to Reed, who reverses it right back to Timonen. He says, no, I want to go that way. And he clears it out through Johnson to center ice. Flyers get to it there. Reed will drop it back to Coburn. And Coburn will sail one all the way down. Gloved by Lindback and dropped off for Koska as the power play is over. So the Flyers kill it off. And now try to go back to the attack. Here's Carl, though, for Tampa ahead to Tom Pyatt. Pyatt drops for Kucherov. Kucherov a quick shot. And that one, whoa, quick whistle. But Emery eventually did smother it anyhow. And so we'll have a face-off when we come back. 1-0 Tampa.
1-0 the Lightning lead the Philadelphia Flyers as we approach the middle part of this hockey game. And let's take a look at our Wells Fargo great check. And there's the guy that laid out this check. And it's a dandy. Now, we all know that Luke Schenn can really take the body right there. He does a spectacular job taking out Eric Brewer, going behind the net, and Brewer's a big boy. That didn't bother Mr. Schenn there.
Eric Brewer 6'4", 216. Luke Schenn third among all defensemen in hits. Victor Hedman shot deflected and then batted wide in front. Loose glove on the ice. That was Callahan who batted that rebound wide. He's always right around that area. Big forecheck out on the ice for the Flyers. I believe it's his first shift since he had gone so slowly to the bench.
It is, and Braden Schenn taking Scott Hartnell's spot on the line. Looks like Hartnell's getting his skate repaired on the bench.
Forecheck rolls that one in, and Lindback will just scoop it up and hang on.
Some steady net minding from Lindback, and good news to see Voracek out there wheeling around again. Scott Hartnell not able to wheel around right now because his skate is getting sharpened, and he'll wait to get that back, pop it on, and jump back out the next shift.
Face-off upcoming here to the left of Lindback as Voracek and Giroux discuss something, and a smile at the end of it. Jake has a great sense of humor. He obviously had a one-liner there for the captain.
And there's the skate for Scott Hartnell. Harry Bricker hustling back with it.
Lightning control. Koska played it across, and now it flex out to the neutral zone. Fires right back on it. Gustafsson will fire it in. When ricochets around, Eric Brewer gets to it. Veteran defenseman. Koska, and now ahead, Kucherov. Lays it ahead for Brown. Brown with good speed. Marked by Luke Schenn, that goes around behind the net. Out the other way, and back out to Koska, who flubbed the shot. And now the Flyers move past him. Numbers for the Flyers. LeCavalier with the puck. The pass to Luke Schenn, who holds and tried to center and deflected wide. Now it's McGinn with it into the slot, and that one missed Hall. And coming from the bench was Palat. And he almost wound up with that puck going the other way.
You talk about the big body of Brewer. He just sprawled right out. It made it very tough for Luke Schenn to be able to get a good opportunity.
Now they battle for the puck at the Philadelphia line. Carl able to nudge it further on into the Philadelphia zone. Go get it. Shrug off a check from Luke Schenn. Matt Carl takes a look, turns, fires. Save Emery. Rebound right out in front. Palat was fishing for it, but Emery able to find it.
Good job by Emery with his glove there. Tonight's Frozen Four semifinal action will make way for the national championship game this Saturday at 7:30 at the Wells Fargo Center. Tickets still remain. Call 800-298-4200.
And of course, well underway and a great first game. Shane Gostisbehere involved in several of the Union tallies as they beat Boston College 5-4. 2 assists, 3 shots. It was quite the force. Local product Johnny Gaudreau had a goal early, but Boston College done. Union moves on to the championship game. And of course now their opponent will be determined. That game, no score early on, we're told. to go to Minnesota. Gudas up the wall, missed. Purcell. Coburn has to go get it. Panik can really fly. He goes back and forces Coburn. But Downey, Coburn, Panik, Purcell all in after that puck in the corner. Get a close look at it, and now Kimmo Timonen has the puck. To Coburn. Timonen will just bounce that one to center. Reed was behind the defense. Puck didn't get to him. Filppula. It's to Carl. Carl will just whack it into the Philadelphia zone. And Coburn back for it. Bit of a lull in play here in terms of scoring chances as the teams close things down some in the neutral zone. Coburn, stretch pass here off the stick of Couturier into the Tampa Bay zone as the Flyers will change. And Victor Hedman starts back. Simmons with the steal. Wayne Simmons off the left wing wall with the puck. Simmons got it in front, loose puck, shot Raffl stopped by Lindback. Two Flyers down on their knees or on their backside trying to keep that puck alive, but Lindback's got it.
Great play by Wayne Simmons. First of all, taking the wall away from Ryan Callahan, who tried to sneak the puck past him, and then going on the offense. A couple of moves in tight and fires that one to an area where Michael Raffl can get the first attempt. I think it was tipped in front also by Braden Shen.
Everybody going to the net. Now Lindback, when he goes down to that butterfly, he still has his head right around that crossbar, but right there he used that big sprawling pad save, because those pads on a big man, that's a lot of coverage.
Point shot here deflects and goes to the corner. Simmons jabs to Braden Shen. He's taken off the puck by Pyatt. Raffl in looking for it. Kept in by Simmons. Really got Shen down low behind the defense, but Braden could not come up with the puck. Here's Brown across, and Hedman will lug to center. Kucherov. Cross ice, that's intercepted. Raffl looks to start back, goes around Kucherov, but lost the puck in the process, and ends up deflecting high up over the glass and out of play. We passed the midpoint of regulation time. Well, which NCAA ice hockey player best exhibits strength of character, contributes to the integrity of the team, and displays outstanding skills in the game? Find out by watching the Hobey Baker Awards presented by Toyota Friday night at 6 on the Comcast Network, as this year's winner will be announced. Matt Carr won the Hobey Baker Award. A fine career at the University of Denver, and certainly relishes that experience.
Pretty unforgettable experience. I mean, our season ended rather abruptly, and then I actually signed with the San Jose Sharks at the time, and you know, so the ceremony was probably 2 or 3 weeks later after I'd already signed my pro contract, and was fortunate enough to be able to go back to the ceremony, and my the coaches, my college coaches were there, my mom was there, and my girlfriend at the time, wife now, was there. So it was kind of a quick trip, a quick in and out for the ceremony, and was right back to work the next day.
And back to live play. You saw a great save made by Emery off of Victor Hedman, who I thought might have been offside on the play, but they said it was good. Emery had to make that save, and Johnny Gaudreau, the local product you mentioned earlier, has a chance to win that award as he is one of the nominees, finalists. The coach, John Borick, will look at the coverage tomorrow on that program we just talked about. Erik Gustafsson back to get the puck. Now it's backhanded in by Adam Hall. Are you looking forward to that, Coatsy?
I am. I really am. I mean, as a former college hockey player like Jonesy, I mean, it's an exciting time. And the Hobey Baker Award is a very elite.
That's the best of the best, no doubt about it. Flyers get to the puck here. Time again ahead. Cavalier trying to pitch it into the Tampa Bay zone. He was stopped. Callahan reaching back for it. He's knocked down by LeCavalier. Adam Hall also trying to get in after that puck. And it's taken by Brewer. He's checked by LeCavalier. Vinny just non-stop work on this shift. Didn't pay off. As Koska will then chip one into the Philadelphia zone. Now the Flyers look to move up. Again across. Luke Schenn. Move it ahead to Hall, who able to get it into the Tampa Bay zone, but not deep. Tough when you don't get those pucks in deep in the second period, especially. They say the Flyers are onside here. Down low, Couturier chipping one wide. That came out of nowhere now. Couturier behind the net. It bounces back out. McDonald Backhand it, but got too much air underneath it. It catches the safety netting and play is stopped.
If you keep pushing them forward, you can get some plays like that will develop. Couturier ends up with a prime chance in the offensive zone after a bit of a fluky play. Downey, though, with a nice touch again on that pass, but the puck is bouncing, and that's why Couturier couldn't settle it in time to get a better shot at Lindback.
And he really had no opportunity. If he could have settled that puck, he might have been able to go across to be able to come back on the backhand, but he didn't have that opportunity because he got not one but two bounces. Tried to get a piece of it, but it went wide.
Wayne Simmons will stuff that one into the Tampa Bay zone. Lewis is back for it. Collision there, Braden Shen and Gudas. The Lightning move it into the Philadelphia zone. Roth right in front of his net. And play stopped.
Gudas can take a hit too. As Shen tried to catch him coming around the net with his head down. And it was Shen that took the worst of that one as Gudas just kept moving.
There's the contact there. Shen trying to lay some body on Gudas, but he's in a good position to kind of weather that storm and knock down Braden Shen at the same time.
Well, those big hitters that really annoy you are the ones that they know so much about hitting that they're very aware when they're about to get hit too.
Exactly.
I remember Richie Keelan.
Oh yeah, do I remember
so
him?
hard.
Fought him one night.
Yeah,
Did not go well.
It's so hard to get a hold. You know, he was a hard guy to hit, but he did a lot of hitting. And here's a penalty in the neutral zone. Interference, the call. That one spotted from well away from the action. Players like, who's guilty?
Andrew McDonald's going to get the gate, but he does not like it as he had a few words for Justin St. Pierre as he headed to the penalty box. I think the call was interference.
It was.
And let's take a look at it. Jonesy, what was your opinion?
It's right at the top right there. You can see the contact by Andrew McDonald. And official in good position, better than I was from here, so he must have felt it was enough to call a penalty.
Here's Filppula as the Lightning get their second power play of the game and try to double their lead. Filppula again, holding on. He's an outstanding passer. He'll go back out to Stamkos. Cross ice, one-time shot. That one took off. A lot firing it. Back out, Hedman. Stamkos. Now the shot, save Emery. Rebound, Callahan. He stopped in tight. Flyers couldn't clear. Outside of Callahan, these are all very young players out on the power play for the Lightning. Stamkos back to Hedman. That shot deflects and goes to the corner. Young, but in many cases, when you're talking about Hedman and Stamkos, experienced. That's a nice combination to have. They'll pull it back out. And now the shot. Stamkos, the save made by Emery. Ray Emery with great anticipation there. Hedman over to keep it in. Gets it back and flips one, deflected, and it dribbles wide. Callahan right in Emery's way again. Now Timonen and knock that puck free. Couturier had his stick tied up, and the Lightning right back to it. 47 seconds in the power play. Stamkos back across. It did not settle for Filppula. Filppula has it now. Flyers drifting back on him. They'll get it back to Hedman. He'll blast from the point. It hit Callahan, and then Stamkos hit the outside of the net with his shot as the puck was bouncing on him, it appeared. Well, the Flyers unable to clear, and now here's Palat walking to the slot. Centered. Emery the save on Callahan. No whistle. And finally, play is stopped as the Flyers clear the porch. Both Stamkos and Callahan end up with their nose to the ice.
All Ray Emery here. Some outstanding saves as Emery keeps this game just a one-goal lead for Tampa Bay after he made about 4 or 5 quality saves, including this last one where he manages to keep it underneath his pad. There's Callahan. It's still loose, but Emery shows some great strength, and Coburn ends up taking a couple Lightning out, including Steven Stamkos.
Well, Justin St. Pierre's right behind the net. So here's Callahan banging away. Now watch Callahan on this redirection.
And there's Emery with a shot, not enjoying Callahan screening in front of him and lets him know it.
But Emery on that last play, I was going to mention that St. Pierre made the call because he lost sight of the puck, but that puck was not tracked by Emery.
Purcell will get it back to Carl. Well, 13 seconds remaining in the power play. Hands it over to Hall. Adam Hall turning on the speed and a goal. Save. Lindback rebound. rebound, ends up on the stick of Koska. And now it's a 3-on-2 of the Lightning the other way. They move back with it. Watt with the pass, and the shot by Killorn goes wide. Out of the box jumps McDonald. Flyers back to full strength. The Lightning have the puck, and here's Killorn. Rotating out with it. And turning away from Hall. Killorn with the backhand. It goes into the slot, cut off by Raffl. And Raffl will just move it ahead. Lightning get it right back. Carl to Killorn, who couldn't hang on, and Luke Schenn gobbles it up. 4:42 remaining in this second period. A 1-0 game. Howard Johnson had 2 minutes of the first period. The only goal of this game. Giroux gets the puck back out. McDonald flipping it back to Giroux, but he's forced by Kucherov. He did keep it in the zone, though. Got it to Voracek. Voracek back to Giroux in the slot. The shot! Save, made rebound. Bounced out to Streit. He'll drop it off for Giroux. Giroux for Voracek to the slot. The shot off the post. Rebound. Hopped away from McDonald. Giroux with it again. Got it into the corner to Voracek. Voracek holding on. Waits the pass. The shot. Lindback sliding across. And the puck would not go. Flyers everything but the finish here. Giroux back to McDonald. Loose stick on the ice. Lightning player without a stick. Here's Hartnell waiting. Gets to Giroux. Giroux down low. It goes in. A goal save. Rebound. Voracek trying to corral it. Could not. Tremendous pressure now from the Flyers. Hartnell. Pass across. Shot Giroux. And that one hits something. I believe it was Gudas. And then lands right in front of the net off the glass. Somehow missed Big Lindback. And the Lightning finally clear. Flyers are trying to take advantage of their change. The pass ahead to LeCavalier. And he's offside. Offside the call. Oh, the Flyers, so many chances to tie this game. One of them was Hall's breakaway. And Lindback had other ideas.
Let's take a look at our Independence Blue Cross fearless play of the game. Radko Gudas got that low center of gravity, loves to be able to hit. Well, Brayden Schenn's going to try to catch him as he's heading around the net, maybe with his head down. Well, Brayden Schenn got the worst of it, but bottom line is he was fearless and going to make that hit. That's a hard hit to make.
Radko Gudas taking a seat on the bench for now before he'll go out there and look for some more hits. Face off to the right of Ray Emery here. Latest sequence, some unbelievable pressure for the Flyers in that Tampa Bay zone. Big Voracek caught iron. Several other Flyers were stopped by the big goaltender. Shots just missed the target off deflections. They're really getting very close to tying this game. Coburn ahead, Brayden Schenn. Pass handled beautifully by LeCavalier as he was in his skates. Then Koska takes it away from him. Brewer ahead. Onik reaches for it. Reversal. Shot! Whips wide. He can fire it. Now it's Thompson. Panik. He is disrupted and stripped of the puck by Andrew McDonald, who moves it ahead to LeCavalier. Off for Simmons. Simmons will deal it to the open wing, hoping for Brayden Schenn. Schenn gets their centers off the stick of Lindback, but gobbled up by the Lightning, couldn't clear. Kept in by Streit. Stutter step move, and then across for Couturier for the shot. Save Lindback. Rebound. Simmons put it in front. Schenn tied up. Finally, the arm goes up for the penalty call. Now McDonald is shot, and that one off of something in wide. Delayed call. Couturier to McDonald. His pass to Streit. Now back to Giroux, and now Streit. Lots of room, Streit, but waiting back in the corner. Not forcing things to go back out to Giroux. Giroux to the middle, and he did force things. It went off a stick to Simmons. Simmons checked. Trying to spin away from Brewer. Does. Simmons, though, tied up. Got the puck to Schenn. Schenn, the shot! And the save by Lindback. Rebound. Another possible penalty there as Stamkos had his man wrapped up. Flyers continue to control. Here's Giroux with a pass. Hartnell in the slot. The shot by Schenn. Batted away. Didn't get all of it. Flyers have it back. Hartnell lost control of it all by himself, and the Lightning jump on him and finally get the whistle, but the Flyers just pouring it on right now.
Just a ton of chances in the last couple of shifts, including Adam Hall's breakaway there. And they just kept coming, keeping it in the Tampa zone. Giroux with an opportunity as he jumped in. Streit joining in. Voracek ringing it off the goal post here. More pressure for the Flyers as Voracek dances one across to Mark Streit, and then eventually they take a penalty.
Well, let's take this. We've got everybody going to the net, but you see right here, Brayden Schenn had an opportunity to be able to get that rebound, and he's taken down by Johnson.
trying to play the puck, but got enough of Schenn. And so the Flyers with only their second power play of the game here. Simmons with a pass and then the shot by Hartnell. And again, not a lot on that. And Lindback batted it away. Now Tiemann in the shot. Save rebound just out of the reach of Simmons as he was unable to beat Hedman to it. McDonald's power play payoff contested. Voracek gets the puck to Simmons. And now Giroux. Giroux checks, gets it back. Behind the back pass to Simmons. The shot. He scores! Wayne Simmons muscles it through Lindback. His 15th power play goal of the year. And the Flyers tie it at 1. The road power play, the top road power play in the NHL tallies again as they score for a case of Tasty Cake.
And what a backhand pass by Claude Giroux, and great strength by Wayne Simmons. That's just a guy that says, I'm going to jam this in the net no matter what it takes. Lindback's been great, but he couldn't come up with that one.
Usually Simmons looks for that far corner, but this time he just wanted to get on net. Now remember, Lindback takes a lot of space when it gets down into that butterfly, but it got up underneath his arm and he just squeezed through it. Simmons just forced it through.
Well, the Flyers, they had been just 2 for the last 22 overall in the power play, but for the year on the road at about 25%. Best in the NHL, and it gets this game tied. Now the Flyers will look to untie. Here's Couturier backhanding in. Final minute of this second period. Flying in after the puck was Downey. Goes to Coburn, backhands, bounces off Gudas. Downey back to it, tucks it back into the other corner. JT Brown is back. Coburn following him all the way in. It bounces free. Downey after Kucherov. And the puck back to the other corner. Now it's Pyatt finally moving it out of the Tampa Bay zone and down the ice. Andrew McDonald's back to get it. Kucherov gets to him. Coburn rams it up the wall. Off of Reed, back to Couturier. Sean Couturier surging in. Couturier, the wrist shot blocked by Brewer. Simmons tipping it to Reed. Reed spinning away from Stamkos. All the way out, tough pass to handle for Streit. He's going to have to handle it in center and then just blast it back in. Flyers have to retouch. They do. 10 seconds remain in the period. There's Stamkos. One last bid through center. 3 seconds. In across the line. And the horn sounds. He could not get a shot off. Great period for the Flyers. They kept pouring it on, and Wayne Simmons got the payoff as he ties this game at 1 late in period number 2. Tonight's Flyers Lightning second stanza was brought to you by Kia. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. This Saturday's Powerball jackpot now has an estimated annuity of $94 million. So play today. Pennsylvania Lottery proceeds benefit older Pennsylvanians. Players must be 18 years or older.
Let's take a look at our power back rehabilitation. Comeback goal of the game. Wayne Simmons is going to get an outstanding pass right here from Claude Giroux. He's going to pick a puck up below the goal line, but now spin around on the forehand. And bang, he beats Anders Lindback. And bang, it's a 1-1 hockey game. That is our power back rehabilitation comeback goal of tonight's game.
Well, only Alexander Ovechkin has more power play goals in the NHL this year than Wayne Simmons. John Borick and Al Morganti will analyze the second period as our coverage of Flyers hockey continues after this. Tonight's third period on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by your Philadelphia Super Network Buick GMC dealers. By McDonald's. Now McDonald's any size iced coffee. Coffee or sweet tea is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by your local Lexus dealer. Getting set for what should be a heck of a third period here, the second period. Flyers get the only goal, and there are the rest of the numbers, courtesy of Sugar House Casino.
Flyers put 15 shots on goal in that second period and finally get one past Anders Lindback, who has been outstanding in this game. Face-offs, Flyers with the advantage there, and the power play is where that goal comes from.
There is the goal scorer, Wayne Simmonds, 27th overall, 15th on the power play this year. Giroux and Voracek, the helpers. And it's a 1-1 game.
Ray Emery outstanding in period number 2. Really outstanding since the first goal of the game got by him, and he had no chance on that one. So he's put together a real strong performance for Craig Berube, who elected to go with Ray Emery here after Mason was peppered with over 40 shots against the Florida Panthers just a couple of days ago, and Emery has not disappointed. Outstanding saves, especially while the Tampa Bay Lightning had the power play. Stamkos with a couple of those chances, and then Emery stands strong here and keeps that puck covered as the Lightning were pushing to try to extend their lead to 2-0. They did not, and the Flyers eventually came back and evened the score.
So the third period underway. Flyers gain 2 more valuable points in those standings. Voracek fires that one wide, bounces all the way out to Andrew McDonald. He'll blast one wide. And unable to come up with it behind the net was Voracek. It's Hedman instead. And he'll bounce one through center and down in the Philadelphia ice. McDonald is back to recapture. It has to deal with a couple of Lightning players. Sends it up the wall, and there's Hartnell. To Giroux, one-handing it to Voracek. Voracek waiting, trying to make the maneuver on Hedman. Strike gets knocked down, goes into the net, and there will be a penalty.
Oh, it's going to be a call on the Tampa Bay Lightning. What a great opportunity. This is going to be the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm pretty sure, I don't think that Brad Watson is going to call him for interference on the goaltender here. Yeah, it's definitely going to be against the Lightning.
John Cooper looking on there as Mark Streit forced the trip, driving to the front of the net, and the Flyers will head back to the power play. Pretty easy call as the trip up front there. Through the legs goes Mark Streit and Anders Lindback. One of the few things that's got through him in this game.
5-0.
Andre Schuster, the guilty party, sits for 2. The Flyers a chance to take their first lead of the game with their power play unit. Voracek across to Timonen. Now it's Giroux, and they're set up. Giroux directing traffic is to Simmonds. Simmonds waited a split second too long there, had the puck tipped away by Carl. He'll now send it back along to Giroux, gets it back to Timonen. Timonen into Voracek, and now Kimo. Giroux for the one-timer, and that was blocked by Carl. And Carl saw that coming, and he's seen that before in practices from years gone by when he was a Flyer. Voracek could not locate that puck. It's a 2-on-2 the other way. Brown wheeling on in all the way around behind, kept to the outside, and now he's going to backhand it out and rag it back into his own zone and waste some time off the Philadelphia power play. Gudas move it across, and now Hedman with a rink-wide feed. A lot had to go off his stick. McDonald comes up with it. Speaking of McDonald, you had a look at our McDonald's power play payoff contested as Streit. They'll move it to Downey, and that puck deflects into the Tampa Bay bench.
Flyers power play will continue here. Steve Downey out there on that second unit, having a conversation right there with Vinny Lecavalier. And the Flyers will look to set something up here off the draw.
Up in New York, 1-1 into the final. Actually, the Rangers have just scored. Rick Nash is 26th with less than 2 minutes to go, and it's 2-1 New York. So the Rangers may be rescuing that one as they were down 1-0, and they've come back to take the lead. At one point, over halfway through the third period, they had gone without a shot on goal in the period. That puck deflects into the Tampa Bay bench, but they have been able to get one past Hackett. It's Matt Hackett who was playing in goal for the Sabres, and now the Rangers just trying to salt that one away.
The son of former Flyer Jeff Hackett, who played very well in that game. Kept it close, and then the Sabres had a late power play opportunity they couldn't capitalize on, and the Rangers went back down the ice and buried it.
Here's Kimmo Timonen. Fires that one in. That means the Flyers have to get a point out of this game, or they will be mathematically eliminated from finishing in second place.
Game sitting there right where the Flyers want it. 1-1 on the road, an opportunity here in the third period to continue the momentum that they built in that second period. And the power play still has 40 seconds left here with their number 1 unit on the ice. A prime chance to get some shots through and see if they get another one past Lindback.
There is Giroux. Now low. Brewer is pass tipped away. Hartnell could not come up with it. And it's sent back out. 25 seconds is what remains on this power play. Here is Streit heading off to Giroux for Hartnell. Hartnell check. Got it to Giroux, and they'll get it set up here for the final moments. Teaming in the shot. Wide. Bounces back out. Reaching for it, but could not come up with it. And the Lightning clear. And that will just about do it. Flyers can start their way back into the offensive zone for the last seconds of this power play. Here's Streit. He is stopped. Tipped it back to Giroux. Giroux to Hartnell. Hartnell for Simmons. Lightning back to full strength. Hartnell down low Giroux. And threw it to the other side of the ice, but Streit was peeling back and going to the bench. So back to five-a-side hockey. Still a 1-1 hockey game. Just about 3 minutes into this third period. Here's Stamkos. Lights that one through to Pyatt, and is stopped by McDonald. Braden Coburn. Sean Couturier. He was forced back deep, and Pyatt steals his pass out the side of the net. McDonald has it to Couturier. In the middle for Raffl. Raffl on the left wing for Reed. Reed takes a look to the middle. Waits, and then goes back out for the shot by McDonald. Save Lindback. That one with a stick. Pass back to McDonald again. Flings one. Save Lindback. And then it's Gudas playing it to the corner, but there's Couturier. Couturier back to McDonald again. McDonald in the middle. Coburn. That pass was in his skates. He could just force it deeper into the zone. High off the glass. Reed trying to work free. Coburn comes in. Steps away with it. Now has to twist it back down low to Reed. Reed for Couturier. Couturier wheeling out with it. Back out to McDonald. McDonald tries another shot. That one deflects and goes up over the cage. Raffl first to it. Sidesteps a check. Gets it back out to McDonald. Good possession here by the Flyers. Now it's Reed. And he's checked by Hedman. He uses that long reach to knock it away. Raffl ties him up. Almost got it back for the Flyers. Now it's Stamkos getting it to Hedman. And the defenseman will move it out to center ice with the Flyers with some great pressure there.
That is one way to slow down the Steven Stamkos line. Force them to play in their own zone. A tiring shift for the Tampa Bay Lightning's top line, and the Flyers were able to make a change here on the go and get a fresh set of legs out there.
Did a great job winning the one-on-one battles. Done a real nice job of getting on the defense.
Long stretch pass here, tipped by Gustafsson. Panik will play it. Panik gets away from Luke Schenn. Panik backhander, stopped in front, gets it back, and then he scores. Richard Panik ends a 17-game goalless drought as the backhander beats Emery 2-1 Tampa Bay.
That chance kind of came out of nowhere. Panik just fired one backhand that was blocked by Gustafsson. No Flyer able to get near him for the second backhand attempt, and he just puts it in off the goalpost. A lot of room in behind the net after he went around Luke Schenn, and then he finds his own rebound to put it in.
I'm looking right over his shoulder. So that puck comes back to him. Now look at Emery's down. But right there, he can't see where that puck is coming from. Because first of all, Panik's on the backhand. He's got traffic. He's trying to get a sense of direction. And he had no clue where that puck was after it went to that far side.
So the Flyers must come from behind again. They've spent so much time in the offensive zone, but comes back their way for a matter of 5 or 6 seconds, and it's in the net. There's Timonen. Ahead to Giroux. Giroux up the middle. The wrister batted away by Lindback. Or a check to the carom. Or a check. Back out to the point. Coburn fans on the shot and then just jams it into the corner. Carl is there. Moves it up the wall. Coburn trying to keep it in momentarily did, but Brewer will go across ice to Callahan with it. Ryan Callahan has his shot blocked by Timonen. He seals him off. And Voracek to the puck. Take Voracek. On the red line, and he'll just play it in. Flyers need a change of this. Giroux stays out on the ice and steals it from Lindback. He's going to try to swing that to the empty net, but just ran out of ability to do that as the puck slid off his stick. Now Schuster sent it in. Brown goes and gets it. Backhands it to the other side of the ice. Braden Schenn pokes at it. Schuster blocks it. Bouncing puck. And it's played by Kucherov, who turns and fires. Save made by Emery. Raffl will tip to Simmons. Simmons charging through center ice. Simmons trying to play it to the middle. It bounced off Hedman to the corner. Raffl after it. Going around behind the net. Schenn bumped into by Simmons. McDonald centers it in front. Braden Schenn back up to get there, but Lindback denied, and now Brown speeding back the other way. Brown holds on, fires it in front, hoping for Kucherov. It went on through. And the Flyers will tip it back through center. Matt Carl to it. Matt Carl moving well, and then just flipping in as he saw Brayden Schenn coming his way. Luke Schenn ahead off the stick of Couturier, back to the Philadelphia line. Gustafsson just tips it across ice. Stamkos after it. Downey will push it further. And there's Gudas. Now Stamkos for Palat. Gets the edge, moves in, fire save Emery. Matchup right now. Couturier line against the top line for the Lightning. Flyers come up with the puck. It's Downey for Couturier. Couturier tipping it in and going after it. With Carl, got it to Reed. Reed swings it back around the other way, teaming it in from the point. Takes a look, gets it to Reed, but he was checked. And the puck back the other way. Couturier will go back and retrieve.
Flyers still forcing the Lightning to play a lot in their own zone and will continue to try to drive the net here.
Downey flipping one through. Reed couldn't catch up to that. Panik does. He just broke the tie, and now he's steamrolling through center. This guy can really move. Panik. Turned back by Coburn. And now it's McDonald. Home again. Time again. Bumped into by Panik before he could get that puck deep, but it bounces across. Hall shot to LeCavalier. Stopped by Lindback. There was a pass from Hall, not a shot. LeCavalier got the shot off, and Lindback had an answer. Now straight down low. LeCavalier couldn't get that one through. And Thompson tries to clear and does. Strike could not keep it in. Backhands it, Hall off the wall. Controls and throws it back into the Tampa Bay ice. 8 minutes now into the third period. Flyers have outshot the Lightning 32-25 in this game. Lightning have the 2-1 lead where it matters. Killorn. Acosta. Sadiq. Luke Schenn first to it. Just go on the boards, but the Lightning come up with it. It's Callahan to Filppula. Filppula. Turns one way, then the other. Try to go back to the point. Hartnell able to break that up and then swing it across ice. Luke Schenn banks to Voracek. Jake Voracek gets the legs moving through center. Voracek going wide on Schuster. Voracek centering. Loose puck. Not seeing it was Hartnell. He does get to it though, stripping Hedman, but ends up going off the stick to the corner. Killorn batting it forward and then across ice to the neutral zone. Gustafsson a big chop at it. Played by Filppula back. And Hedman now will wait. Flyers are changing. Stamkos gets to Palat. Bounces one into the right of Emery. Coburn is there backhanding. An airborne offering to Couturier, who was tied up but able to muscle it ahead, but Downey could not clear. Poked away by Coburn. Active stick there to Reed. And ahead, hoping for Couturier, but it's Gudas instead. He'll drop it back. Carl misfiring on that pass. Chance for the Flyers. Here's Couturier. Couturier to Reed. Reed holds, fires, and that one takes off and finds glass. I'm not sure if it got Lindback. Now the counter rush. And it's Stamkos. Stops. Waiting across the line. Got it to Palat. Palat doubles it down low for Tyler Johnson. Johnson centers it. The shot. They score. The defenseman beating Emery. It's 3-1.
Well-timed pass by Tyler Johnson, and Eric Brewer's able to walk in from the point position uncovered, and he just blasts it up high to the glove side on Ray Emery. A long time without a whistle in this one, and Tampa continued to turn the legs, and it's Johnson's pass that allows Brewer to walk in and fire it high upstairs.
That's a heck of a shot by Brewer. Right here, Johnson's just going to wait, and the coverage breaks down because Brewer does come from that left point position, but the shot is what's important because he just drills it right up over the shoulder of Ray Emery. That thing was cooking.
Brewer's second goal of the year. Once upon a time, he was a guy who would score quite a bit, but he settled into more of a defensive role here in Tampa Bay, but he took advantage of an opportunity right there. So the Flyers now a half a period to try to erase a 2-goal deficit. Here is Streit pivoting away from Pyatt, but his cross-ice pass finds Kucherov. He'll drop it off for Hedman. And now Hedman will send it into the Philadelphia zone. Emery sets it up for Streit. Simmons across. McDonald in the middle. Here's Raffl. Raffl surrounded by Lightning players. Backhands, and that one off of Lindback. Simmons fighting hard to get to that puck, but was overtaken by the Lightning, and Kucherov will get to Thompson. Back to Kucherov, back for Thompson, backhander save, Emery. A give and go there, and Emery had to make a stop to keep the Flyers within 2. Now it's McDonald to Luke Schenn, and ahead LeCavalier to the slot. LeCavalier had nowhere to go with that, just tried to backhand it and went off a stick. Lightning get it back. Ursel had a pass deflect to McGinn. McGinn back to Luke Schenn. Schenn just flipping one, deflected, side of the net. It gets to the blue paint. It's still loose. Backhander Hall. It did not go. Bounces back out. Shot Schenn. It did not go. Looked like the puck was covered by a Lightning defender in the blue paint. Finally, the whistle stops play. Boy, it looked like a Lightning player covered that puck in the crease with his glove, and I mean a player other than Lindback. But I don't see any call being made by the officials. The Flyers again frustrated in the blue paint.
2 saves by Radko Gudas, who was in behind the goaltender there. He finds a way to keep it out of the net.
Here it is. 1 save by Gudas. And another one came later.
Lightning lead the Philadelphia Flyers right there. Anders Lindback has been the star in this one. And let's take a look at our Hyundai save of the game, and it just happened. Flyers all over the Tampa Bay Lightning. And watch. LeCavalier goes right in front, gets in the backhand, and right there Lindback. I don't know how he got to that one. It was a very awkward save, but it is our save of the game.
He's made 33 saves. Radko Gudas has made 2. And somehow this is a 3-1 game for Tampa Bay. The Flyers have lost the first 2 games of the season series this year with the Lightning. Here's Ryan Callahan trying to burrow in against Timonen, but turned him back. Now it's Killorn to Filppula. He played it back to the point, but Hedman was drifting off the wall, so the puck goes all the way down the ice. Voracek trying to force Hedman here. Hedman backhands it up. The first 2 games, the feeling in the game was that the Flyers were sort of hanging on because the speed of Tampa was giving them trouble, and the Lightning were at times dominant in those games, especially the game down here. That's not the case in this game at all. The Flyers have pushed the play for huge chunks of the game.
They've had a ton of offensive zone pressure here, especially after the first 5 minutes of the game, but Tampa found a way here in the 3rd period to get a couple of goals. You can lock in your seats for next season. Ticket packages for next season are available now. Secure your seats in advance and get access to great benefits, including tickets to this year's playoffs and discounts only available to Flyer season ticket holders. Call now and join in on the excitement.
And Flyer fans hoping for some late game dramatics from their club here. Again, the Rangers have won tonight. They are now 4 points out of the Flyers. Here's your final score from MSG. And we'll run through what it means here shortly. Mark Streit to the puck for the Flyers. Streit trying to work around Brewer. Couturier picks it up. Couturier backhanding it, deflects, it goes in, they score! Off of Palat's stick and in. And the Flyers are right back within 1. Dirty but good as they score for a case of Tasty Cake.
Well, you make your own breaks, and the Flyers certainly have thrown a ton of pucks towards Anders Lindback. 34 saves up until this one gets past him, and it's Palat's stick that chips it up and over. Couturier is going to have his 2nd goal or another goal in consecutive games as he started to find some puck luck.
You got to have a little luck, and that's exactly what that is to get this game within 1. That puck, Lindback had no opportunity to be able to get that one, as it just redirected up and over his shoulder, and that glove was not that quick.
Yeah, Cooch is going to tell you if he had that long beard, that puck doesn't go in for him. Yeah. He feels as though his luck has changed since he trimmed the beard. Still has a beard, but it's much more trimmed version. That puck deflects out of play, so we'll step aside. 7:31 remaining in the 3rd. Set up for a good finish here in Tampa. Coming up after the post-game show, Sportsnet Central. Let's get a preview. Send it back to Philadelphia to Jen Daniels and Neil Hartman.
All right, JJ, thank you very much. The Phillies across the street right now trying to avoid a 4-game losing streak, and Ryan Howard will tell us that he is not that concerned about the direction the team is heading in the early going of the season.
And Chase Utley back in that lineup after suffering from those flu-like symptoms those past few games as they took on the Brewers tonight. As you said, Neil, trying to avoid that 4-game skid. We'll have highlights and reaction
And with
coming
Cliff
up.
Lee on the mound.
Cliff Lee on the bump. Got to
Yeah.
feel good about it.
Also, the Frozen Four right here in the building. Flyers are on the road. Frozen Four is here. We'll have coverage of that as well. All coming up on Sportsnet Central following our Flyers coverage. Right now, let's send it back to Tampa and JJ Jonesy and Coatsy.
Thanks, guys. There's a look at the Eastern Conference. The Rangers win, giving them 95 points, so a 4-point lead. Flyers, after tonight, will have 2 games remaining. They could move into a tie with the Rangers, but the Rangers will have the tiebreaker. So a loss in regulation in this game. And look out off the backboard, a shot, and Emery the save, and he covers up as Pyatt fouled in a designed play by the Lightning. Almost works right there. But to finish that thought, if the Flyers lose in regulation here, they will not be able to finish in second place.
And remember that save by Ray Emery if the Flyers were able to mount a comeback here and pick up that second goal. There's the bank play, and Ray Emery had to be alert and good position there to make the save on Pyatt.
You're going to tell that they know the boards here on home ice, or they know that they're going to get some good action coming off that dasher.
Mark Stroit was given an assist on that goal by Couturier, so he has a 40-point season in the books. As the Flyers get the puck into the Tampa Bay zone. 1 down, and now it's a 3-on-2. Filppula to Killorn. Killorn shot blocked by Coburn. Bounces out to Schuster, the big Czech defenseman. Will send it around behind. There's Callahan. Back to Filppula. Filppula twisting and turning. Hartnell trying to keep him from getting in front, and he hog-tied him. And that's going to get a penalty. And then Scott follows in after and hits him again, and might get a second penalty. We'll have to wait and see. Offside called at the line, and the whistle stops play. Hartnell will get at least 2, and he's barking at the official.
He's only going to get 2, and he wanted to get his money's worth before he was done. That's why he chased down Filppula. And you can see Hartnell just a little bit of a tug on the back there, not much, and he's angry that Filppula went down and drew the penalty.
Well, big kill here. A lot of time in this hockey game. 6:41. Flyers have drawn within 1, and Lindback's been the story so far.
Now here's the power play in front. Callahan tipping it just wide. The Lightning have not tallied with their power play, but they have been very dangerous. Here's Filppula. Shot goes wide. Coburn could not get the puck up ice. Turning with it, Callahan. And the shot stopped by Emery. He'll hang on.
Again, Emery in a good spot there as Callahan fires it with no traffic in front. Not an ideal situation for the Lightning on the power play. Better served by being patient and allowing a couple of forwards to get in the way of Ray Emery's vision.
Near must kill for the Flyers here with 6:21 to go. Down 1 already. Hall wins the draw. McDonald drills the puck. Raffl trying to clear past Palat. Got it to the line, but Filppula slipped over to keep it in. Filppula then tied up. Good work along the boards by Raffl, but they still push it through. And here's Filppula for Palat, and it tips past him. You know, Raffl never gave up on that play. Might have gotten his stick in there on that pass back to the point.
It's one of the things that makes him so effective.
Now Filppula right back in across the line. Turns back and gets it to the point. Hedman cross ice in the middle. Back across for Filppula, and he didn't get the shot. He broke his stick. And now they score! At the side of the net, Stamkos is jamming away. And the power play goal puts Tampa back up by 2.
Another strange one in this game. After the Flyers had some luck go their way, it's Tampa that gets some back here after a pretty passing play. Filppula breaks his stick there, and the puck ends up getting past Braden Coburn, and Stamkos is there from a tough angle to bank it off the back of Ray Emery.
A lot of east-west here. Stamkos, on top of being an outstanding scorer, he's got some great passes, especially on this power play. Once again, dot to dot, the puck ends up on Stamkos' stick. Now his actually feet are below the goal line, but his stick is on this side is a right-hand shot and just beat Emery before he got to the pipe.
So despite missing 45 games this season, Steven Stamkos has reached the 25-goal mark. Loose puck. Onik went down. Flyer player was trying to play the puck. They don't blow it dead. But the penalty by Hartnell leads to the power play goal for the Lightning, and the Flyers are now down by 2. The Flyers' streak of road penalty kills ends at 22. They had not allowed a road power play goal since before the Olympic break. But that comes to an end with that goal from Steven Stamkos. Now it's Braden Shen around for Wayne Simmons. Simmons to Braden Shen, trying to get back out in front, could not. Gets it back out to Streit. Fakes the shot, spins with it, drifts, and then just floats one to the slot. Simmons couldn't knock it down. LeCavalier will get it back to Simmons behind the net. Simmons takes a look in front, holding on to it, continues to hold, turns and fires. A weak shot could not get through. And Lightning will move it back out. Brewer lobbing one that J.T. Brown gets to. McDonald gets to him and pokes it away. Simmons will jab it to McDonald. McDonald gets it to Gustafsson. And now Simmons and LeCavalier. Cavalier is stripped of the puck. As Kucherov takes it away from him. Now Kucherov with some fancy dangling and centered across the line. Kucherov with the hold the gun and fire, but it was knocked away by Reed. Flyers have it here as Raffl charges up. Raffl tried to cut to the middle, but is having trouble controlling as Schuster got to him. The backhand to Reed. Reed is checked. Now the puck bounces across ice, and who else but Stamkos is there to have it? To Johnson. Johnson all the way across ice. Palat back in front, blocked off by Coburn. It's underneath him. No whistle. They let him play, and they poke it away from him. And Stamkos will get it back to Hedman for a blast. That's blocked. Bounces back to Hedman. And he'll get it to Palat. Another loose stick on the ice. Raffl will clear the zone. We're down to 3.5 minutes remaining for the Flyers to try to find 2 goals to equalize here. Here's Hedman to Schuster. And off the stick of Palat. Now Hartnell is checked at the Tampa Bay line by Schuster. Gustafsson to Giroux. He'll pump it into the Tampa Bay zone and go after it. Hedman is there. The puck bounces free to Voracek. Voracek trying to spin away from Palat. And Palat, really diligent checking there to stay with him. Hartnell now trying to keep it alive. He did momentarily, but it ends up the wall. Flyers still looking for it. Voracek couldn't work it around the traffic, and Tampa Bay clears.
Tampa doing a lot of that here over the last few minutes with that 2-goal lead restored. They just keep chipping pucks out, and Flyers having a difficult time getting back to that great forecheck game that they had throughout much of this one.
Weaving his way up is Filppula. Into the slot for a shot that goes off a stick and out of play. 2:33 left, 4-2 Tampa Bay. Tonight's Flyers Lightning game is brought to you by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. And by Wells Fargo. If you're considering buying your first home, Wells Fargo is with you. Wells Fargo, together we go far.
Let's take a look at our Toyota turning point. It's going to come right here as Johnson finds Eric Brewer kind of sneak in from the point, and he drills a shot right over the shoulder of Ray Emery, and that is our Toyota turning point of tonight's game.
Just 9 shots for the Lightning, but they have made good use of them. Flyers will try to find a way here. Final 2:25, down 2. And there goes Ray Emery to the bench. Extra attacker on for the Flyers. Simmons centering. Giroux in heavy traffic, just trying to keep that puck in the zone. Could not. Purcell will chip it ahead. Here's Panik after it. Backhands it off the stick of Voracek and wide of the net. And now Voracek, well, he had the puck. It was tipped away from the Flyers. Do get it. And they bank it out. Right there is Schuster to get it to Panik, and instead of trying the shot, he just plays it into the zone. Voracek after it. Purcell muscles it away from him. Timonen gets it back, and the Flyers having all kinds of difficulty with the active checking of the Lightning here. Timonen get it to Voracek. Again, trying to spin away from the check. And there's another Lightning player there to greet him. Reed now tries to help out, but it's Palat who comes away with the puck. To Johnson and then back to Hedman as time ticks off the clock. They misfiring a pass there, and that'll be icing, and that's just what the Flyers needed. Give them an offensive zone draw. That was not a smart play by Tampa Bay at all.
Take a look at our Mazda top shelf performers from tonight's game. Wayne Simmons, his 15th power play goal of the season. Couturier picks up his 12th. Mark Streit gets his 40th point of the season. Tyler Johnson picks up his 24th goal, a rookie record. And Anders Lindback comes up with 33 saves.
Timeout. Craig Berube and the Flyers.
Well, the Flyers wrap up regular season play when they take on the Carolina Hurricanes this Sunday at 3 o'clock. Tickets still remain. Call 215-218-PUCK or go to PhiladelphiaFlyers.com to catch that last game of the regular season.
And again, if you're looking for seats to the Flyers round 1 playoff games, go to PhiladelphiaFlyers.com as well for ticket options and the latest on the playoff plans. If the Flyers do not come back and get a point out of this game, they'll be opening up on the road. We will know that. But, of course, the exact dates and times, opponents, that's still to be determined. Face off here to the left of Lindback. 6 skaters on 5. And the puck to Streit. Back out Voracek on the wing. That shot forced wide. Giroux gets to it. Back around. Trying to play it back was LeCavalier, and then mishandling it was Voracek. He does keep Palat away from it, and one hands it to Simmons. Simmons turns and starts back. Wayne Simmons chips to himself along the boards. Simmons turned back now. Got that puck through to Hartnell, who backhanded it to Streit. Streit. Cross ice. One-time blast, and Lindback perhaps got a piece of that, or maybe off the side of that as LeCavalier let fly. Now here's Hartnell. To Giroux into the final minute. Giroux back out Streit. Streit holds on back to Giroux. The one-time blast. Had it away. Giroux then a nice little pass there to Hartnell. Back out, and Voracek banned on that shot. Does poke it through to LeCavalier. He couldn't hang on, and Hedman will clear it all the way down. Wide in the net, it'll be icing. Streit hustling back to get the whistle, but only 31 seconds remain.
Well, let's take a look at our Bud Light player of the game, and it's that man right there. Anders Lindback has just been unbelievable. And his size certainly helped him an awful lot. As when he didn't get there, his size would take care of it. Right there, a great save on McGinn, and got the rebound. A couple of opportunities right here. You can see Scotty Hartnell with a backhand. He was especially good in the second period.
Yeah, he's been great against the Flyers all year. 3 games, he's played them all, and he has been remarkable. 54 of 59 coming in, and he stopped 34 of 36 here. Flyers still pushing. Here's Reed, bouncing puck. Finally jabbed out to the neutral zone. He's trying to go back and play this as it rolls on its edge into the zone. Time winding down on the Flyers' chances to finish in second place in the Metropolitan Division. That one a head tip by Couturier. Lindback will swat it to the corner. The horn sounds. And for the first time since 05-06, and only the 3rd time ever, the Tampa Bay Lightning have swept the season series from the Flyers as they beat them here tonight 4-2. And the Flyers now have to try to win some hockey games to finish in 3rd place in the Metropolitan Division.
Lindback had a lot to do with it. His teammates give him a lot of congratulations there. Tampa has a strong 3rd period and finds a way to get another win here at home.
They will host, will the Lightning, Columbus tomorrow. Flyers suddenly Lightning fans. And then the Flyers in Pittsburgh on Saturday afternoon on NBC at 3 o'clock. That game very important for the Flyers if they want to avoid falling into one of those wild card positions. And then it looks as though the season finale could have some meaning as well for the Flyers as they host the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll have that game for you on Comcast Sportsnet beginning at 2:30 Sunday afternoon. Here tonight, an entertaining hockey game. Flyers, for long stretches, had the better of play, but the Lightning get the victory 4-2. For the entire crew, as well as my broadcast partners Keith Jones and Steve Coates, I'm Jim Jackson. Good night from Tampa Bay. Stay tuned now.